You can find our booth at the entrance here at Sabuga, ITB, where you can find our brochures and also Red Bull drinks. Okay? So if you can't come to the presentation, please come to our booth and we'll tell you more about career opportunities in Austria, in the heart of Europe. So what is it that we do? I work for an organization called the ABA, which stands for Austrian Business Agency. Austrian Business Agency, the ABA. And the ABA is owned by the Austrian government. And we help all international talents, all professional workers, skilled workers, and also their families, if they want to find out more about career opportunities and life in Austria. Everything about living in Austria, working in Austria, we will assist you, we provide you information, and all of this information is free of cost. This is a service provided by the Austrian government. So what we do is we give you information about how to find a job in Austria, how is life in Austria. We help you, assist you, prepare for the job interviews, if you have questions, how to prepare for the job interview with Austrian companies. And if you get a job offer, we also help you as Indonesian citizens get the legal document that is needed so you can move to Austria, so you can live and work there. And if you want to bring your family, it's possible for you to bring your partner, so your husband or wife, and your children with you to Austria. And we also help them get the legal document so they can join you and move to Austria. And if you already arrived in Austria, we also help you with information how to find things in Austria. For example, how to find an apartment, or if you have children, how to register them in an Austrian school. Or maybe you have a dog or a cat you want to bring with you to Austria. We tell you how you can bring your pets with you. And we also tell you if you have a driver's license, an Indonesian driving license, we tell you how to transfer that to an Austrian or European driver's license. So we will assist you, guide you, and be your friends on your entire journey from Indonesia to Austria. And these information, services, and guidance and help is all free of cost. So once the presentation continues, I will tell you a bit more about life in Austria. So Austria is a small country in Europe. Our neighbors are Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Hungary, Czech Republic. So this is the European map that you see on the screen. And the country in dark blue, that is Austria. Now why am I so far away from home? I'm from Austria originally. This is our traditional Austrian wear. This is like Austrian batik. So Austria is very far away from Indonesia. Why is it that Indonesians can move to Austria? The reason is very simple. The Indonesian government and the Austrian government are working together. They signed a political agreement 1.5 years ago. They signed a political agreement where both countries, both governments, want to help Indonesian professionals, skilled workers, and their families move to Austria. Both governments are working together to assist Indonesians move to Austria. And the reason is very simple. For Indonesia, and you know this is why you are here at the job fair, it's not very easy to find a job. Sometimes it can be very difficult. Sometimes it can be very difficult to find a job that is related to your university degree, to your training. Sometimes it's difficult to find a full-time job. Sometimes it's also very difficult to find a job that meets your expectations. So the Indonesian government understands understands this. So perhaps some of you want to explore career and job opportunities abroad. And I would say Austria is a very good place for career and job opportunities abroad. And why is it that we, the Austrian government, welcome Indonesian professionals to come to Austria? Well, Austria is a very wealthy country. It's a small country in Europe. We have excellent benefits, but we have one problem. And luckily for you, this problem does not affect you. It only affects the Austrians. Our problem is we have a shrinking population. We have an old population. The average age in Indonesia, I think, is around 25 or 26, maybe 27 years old. In Austria, the average age, I think, is already 40 or 45 years old. So we have an aging population, not enough young people coming into the job market. So that means we have many jobs where we don't have enough applicants, where we don't have enough Austrian talents. So we have many job opportunities, not enough people. And in Indonesia, I think you have the reverse issue. Many young people, many talented young people, many people looking for jobs, but maybe not quite enough jobs available. So that is why it's possible for you as Indonesian citizens to move to Austria. It's possible for Indonesian citizens who are professionals and skilled workers. That means if you have a university degree, if you have professional qualifications, if you maybe completed SMK, so a vocational high school, it's also possible for you to move to Austria. And this, I will just remind you, is the map of Europe, and Austria is the country marked in dark blue. So you can see on the screen, it's right in the center of Europe. And this makes it a very exciting place, very exciting for you, because you're all young, and I'm sure you all want to explore, travel. So if you want to explore Europe, travel in Europe, I welcome you to do it from Austria, because any part of Europe you can reach from Austria by plane within 3 hours, whether it's the north in Scandinavia or the south like Italy, Greece, or the west like France, Spain, Portugal, or the east. You can explore all of the European countries from Austria within 3 hours. And the plane tickets are pretty cheap. So I know you have here in Indonesia many budget airlines, CityLink, Batik Air. In Austria, we also have budget airlines, Ryanair, Wizz Air, and some of my friends tell me they can get cheap tickets, budget tickets, from Austria to Paris, or from Austria to Rome, for as little as 15 euros. 1 euro is around 20,000 rupiah. So 15 times 20. For that little amount of money, you can get a return ticket from Austria to other European cities. In fact, what I like to do on my weekends, and it's a popular hobby, it's a hobby for Austrians, what I like to do on the weekends, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I like to fly to London. So Saturday morning, I get a flight to London, fly 2 hours, arrive in London. Then when I arrive, I have breakfast, do some shopping, meet a friend, then watch a movie. And then in the evening, I fly back home to Austria. So it's a very popular thing in Europe to do some Euro travel. Okay? And if you're once you're in Europe, there are no border controls. So that is the benefit of being part of the European Union. If you leave for another country, for a holiday, to another European city, there's no one checking you for visas or passports. Okay? So I told you now about Europe. Let me tell you a bit more about Austria. Austria is a Central European country. Our language is German. Your language is Bahasa Indonesia. In Austria, we speak German. But the good thing is, many people also speak English in Austria. Okay? But our official language is German. We are a small country, around 9 million people. 9 million people. We already have some Indonesians living in Austria. The Indonesian embassy in Austria told me there are around 2,000 Indonesians living right now in Austria. Around 2,000 Indonesians. Austria is very attractive. It's unknown, it's not very well known, but it's very attractive because we are a very wealthy country. We have many jobs available. We have a stable democracy. Austria is always stable. It doesn't matter about the elections. People are always very satisfied. They very rarely go protesting because life is good in Austria. Austria is part of the European Union. That means our currency is the euro. You have the rupiah, we have the euro. And the euro is a very strong currency. I mentioned 1 euro is around 20,000 rupiah. In addition to that, because we're part of the European Union, you can travel within the European Union. You wouldn't need any visa, additional visa, holiday visa, you don't need that. And also, we have the benefit, even though we're part of the European Union, we are not part of the NATO, so we do not participate in any military conflict. Okay? So we don't participate in any wars. The other thing about Austria is that I would say we are a very safe country. We don't really have any natural disasters. We don't have any enemies. So I would say Austria is really a stable place. It's very good if you want to have a relaxed life, a stable life, where you don't have to worry so much about your day-to-day. You don't have to worry, will I still have my job next week, next month? Do I have to worry about transportation? Austria is a very stable life. Maybe some people would consider it maybe just a little bit boring, but I would say such a life is better than having uncertainty. And the other thing I mentioned, Austria is a very wealthy country. We are also an economic powerhouse. With the salary you get, you can afford a lot. Now, what are the reasons to live and work in Austria? Because there are many Western countries, developed countries that offer good benefits. So what makes Austria better than those countries? Even though Austria is unknown, I would say we have some things that are much better than other wealthy Western countries. You all know the EU, the European Union. The European Union is maybe the wealthiest region in the world, or one of the most wealthy regions in the world, where life is excellent, where quality of life is excellent. But not many people know that within the European Union, Austria ranks #1 in terms of quality of life. So from all the countries in the European Union, whether it's Germany, whether it's Sweden, whether it's Belgium, whether it's Netherlands, France, Spain, Austria has been ranked #1 in terms of best place to live, in terms of quality of life. So we have the best quality of life. And what does it mean to have good quality of life? It already starts with the most basic needs. In Austria, you can drink the tap water. The tap water in Austria is drinkable. Austrian people usually do not buy bottled water. Okay? So you already save there. The other thing that makes Austria very good, I know you're all very young, but what makes Austria very attractive, that's why we already have many aging people, is we have excellent healthcare. In Austria, if you live and work there, you have access to free public healthcare. So if you go to the public hospital, you go to a public doctor, or you have an operation at a public hospital, it is free. Okay? The other thing, if you live and work in Austria, we have excellent benefits for you. You will get a pension, retirement money. I know in many parts of Asia, when you retire, life can be difficult. Your grandparents will maybe rely on the family members, they will rely on their children to finance them. And this is a burden. Yes, we love our grandparents, I also love my grandma, but in Austria we have pension, and the pension is decent, it's good. People who are retired can actually live off of their pension. Another reason why Austria is very good is because if you live and work there, your children one day have access to free public education. Okay? Kindergartens and schools are free. Universities are very cheap as well. Some universities are even free in Austria. Okay? The other thing that makes Austria very good is that if one day you live and work there, and then maybe one day you become unemployed, you get unemployed pay. So while you are unemployed, while you have no job in Austria, you still get paid by the government. So for example, once, some years ago, I was between jobs. I had no job for around 4 months. During these 4 months, I got, of course, unemployed pay. And during my time of unemployed pay, I got around 1,500 euros. So maybe, I'm not so good at maths right now, so if you multiply that by 20,000, in US dollars it's around 1,700 US dollars every month. Okay? And that's just unemployed pay. Why do you get unemployed pay? It's so that you can focus on your job hunt, you can focus on applying for a new job, while you don't have to worry about rent, transportation, and living costs. So you get unemployed benefit like unemployed pay, and also if you're unemployed in Austria, you have access to unemployed services such as further additional training and also guidance how to find a new job. I mentioned our official language is German, but we speak also very good English. From the non-English speaking countries in the European Union, we ranked number 3 in terms of command of English. So for those European countries where English is not the official language, Austria ranks in the top 3. And finally, I mentioned you have many cheap budget airlines. In Austria, we also have very affordable public transportation. So in my hometown, which is the capital, it's called Vienna, we have trains, trams, buses, and underground. And the daily cost for using all this transportation, as often as you like, the daily cost for me is 20,000 rupiah. So my hotel is Bandung, which is around 15 minutes drive from Sabuga to Tibet. And when I took the Grab driver, it already cost me 28,000 rupiah to come here. But in Austria, if you use public transportation, it costs you less, 20,000 rupiah per day in the capital of Vienna. And you can use every public transportation as often as you want, not just one time, limitless. So, I mentioned the European Union, a very wealthy region where life is very good, but where is the best life, quality of life? According to studies, Austria ranks number 1. So we rank better than Denmark, Netherlands, Finland, Luxembourg. All of those countries are great, but Austria ranks number 1 in terms of quality of life. Also, I know you're all young, you don't just want to work. In Austria, compared to other European countries, who has the most days off, who has the most holidays? It's Austria. In Austria, companies must give you a minimum 25 paid holidays per year. 25 paid holidays. That is 5 weeks, because a work week in Austria is 5 days. Okay, you work 5 days a week. So 25 paid holidays per year is 5 weeks of holiday. And those 25 paid holidays is just the minimum. Some Austrian companies give you 6 weeks or 30 days. So it's just the minimum. And these 25 paid holidays, it's just for holidays. It's not for your sick leave. It's not if you have to take care of your aging parents and grandparents. Because if you are sick or you have to take care of your family members, for those occasions, there are separate days leave. So it's just 25 paid holidays, just for you to go on holiday. And you must use those holidays, because at the end of the year, Austrian companies have to make sure the maximum days you did not use per year are 10 days. So at the end of the year, from the 25 holidays, maximum 10 days is allowed to be unconsumed. Okay? And those 10 days, if you did not use them, those 10 days you get in addition to your next year. So in the next year you have 25 new paid holidays plus the 10 days from last year, which gives you 35 paid holidays. Also, we have governmental holidays in Austria. So governmental holidays is, for example, National Day, New Year, Easter, Christmas. Just like here in Indonesia, we have certain days of Labor Day. In Austria, we have 13 public holidays. So you can expect the minimum, just the minimum days off in Austria are your 25 paid holidays plus the 13 public governmental holidays, which is 38 holidays per year. And that does not include your weekends. Also, if you are sick in Austria, I mentioned this, you do not use your paid holidays. If you are sick, you are put on sick leave. And sick leave does not affect your paid holidays. Sick leave also does not affect your pay. If you are sick in Austria, you still get your full salary. Okay? The other thing in Austria is that apart from, let me give you an example of paid holidays. I used to work for Austrian Airlines. Austrian Airlines is the national carrier of Austria. It's like Garuda Indonesia, your airline. And at Austrian Airlines, they have a special policy. They give you 5 weeks holiday per year. Okay, 5 weeks. But if you stay with them for 5 years, you work for them for 5 years, after the 5 years, they let you choose 1 month in the year. They let you choose 1 month in the year. In that month, either they give you free, you don't work the entire month, but you still get paid, or you get double salary in that month. Okay? And so, for example, if I stay there 5 years, they say, Rafael, which month do you want? And I say, October. Then October I can choose. Either I don't work and I get my salary, or they give me double salary and I just work normal that month. And I still have the 5 weeks holiday for the rest of the year. Okay? But that is just one example. Other companies have other policies, other holidays in addition. So if you're wondering, well, Austria is very wealthy, I can earn a lot, but many people forget that if you live abroad, the cost is also higher. And that is the same for Austria. The cost of living is certainly higher than Indonesia. But I would say, compared to other Western countries, compared to other European countries, the cost of living in Austria is still reasonable. It's moderate. It's not yet that high. We did a study of adults in Austria. And the average adult spends around 2,100 euros per month. So 2,100 times 20,000 rupiah, that is how much a typical average Austrian pays per month. Living costs, rent, transportation, food. But that is the average. That includes families, that includes couples and singles. If you are alone and a single, I think you can live on much less than 2,100 euros. I have friends who are single, adults, they live on around 1,500 euros per month. So it's possible to spend less in Austria. If you're thinking of other European cities, other European countries, let me tell you, Austria is also cheaper than them. If you want London or Paris or Berlin, Austria, in terms of rent, is cheaper than the other big European cities. So I would say you can get the best of both worlds. You can still experience Europe without having to spend so much if you choose Austria. So if you're wondering what are the benefits I get in Austria, in Austria your salary is paid 14 times per year. So if you see a job description at our booth or on our website. Our website is workinaustria.com. We have a job platform there called the Talent Hub. If you look at the jobs there, the jobs usually say the monthly salary. You have to multiply this monthly salary times 14, not 12, times 14, because this salary is paid 14 times per year. Okay? In Austria, you can also expect that your salary will increase every year automatically, because the salary will be adjusted for inflation. Just like in Indonesia, in Austria we also have inflation, but our salary every year will be adjusted for the inflation. Okay? But even though it will increase and be adjusted by inflation, don't forget you can always negotiate with your boss for a higher salary. So even though it adjusts for inflation, you can still negotiate for a higher salary. Also in Austria, a full-time work week is regulated. Depending on your job, a full-time work week is between 36 hours to 40 hours. That is a full-time job. In Austria, we don't want you to work overtime, because if you work overtime, Austrian companies must pay you for the overtime, or they must give you time off in return for the overtime. That's why Austrian companies, they are strict and they try to limit your overtime. Also in Austria, I know in Asia, in some Asian countries, the work culture is to work overtime, to be unpaid for your overtime. In Austria, if you work an office job or a 9 to 5, work culture, you work Monday to Friday, but Friday is half day. Okay? So you work every day around 8 hours, Monday to Thursday, and Friday you work maybe from 9 o'clock until lunchtime. It's our work culture, and nobody complains or criticizes if you leave early on Friday. So that you have an extended weekend. Half Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then you can already travel Friday afternoon to another European city if you want to. This is just our work culture. Okay? And the reason why is because, yes, we like to earn well, we like to work hard, but it is important for us that we enjoy our free time. Have you heard of work-life balance? In Austria, we treat it almost like a religion. As long as for us, the number one priority is work-life balance. And because we have work-life balance, things are stable in Austria. People don't complain. Also in Austria, if you're scared about losing your job, Austrian companies are required to give you a notice period, termination period. And usually Austrian companies have to give you a termination period of 2 months. So if they tell you, we will let you go, you still are employed for the next 2 months, you get paid, so you can prepare for finding your next job. Okay? So usually it's 2 months notice period. Now, one thing I would like to emphasize. You're all young, but maybe one day you want a family. In Austria, there are many benefits for starting a family. Let's start with the women, and I'll tell you the benefits for the fathers, for the men. If you're a woman and you live and work in Austria, if you become pregnant 8 weeks before giving birth, and 8 weeks after giving birth, 16 weeks in total, almost 4 months, you are not allowed to work, but you still get paid. Okay? So around 4 months, 8 weeks before giving birth, 8 weeks after giving birth, you are not allowed to work, it's illegal, but you still get paid, of course. And then after these 16 weeks, you can choose to go on maternity leave. You want to guess how long maternity leave is? It's paid maternity leave, so you get paid when you take care of the child. In Austria, it's either 1 year, 2 years, or up to 3 years. You can choose 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years to go on paid maternity leave. So if you're pregnant 8 weeks before giving birth, 8 weeks after giving birth, you're not allowed to go to work, but you you get paid. And then after those 16 weeks, you can go 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years on paid maternity leave where you take care of the child. And this is for every child you have, not just one time, and not just split up among all the kids. No, if you have 2 kids, then for the second child, the same thing applies. 8 weeks before giving birth, 8 weeks after giving birth, not allowed to work, you still get paid, and after the second child, you can choose again. 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years paid maternity leave. If you have 3 kids, same thing. 8 weeks before giving birth, 8 weeks after giving birth, not allowed to work, you get paid, and you can choose again. 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years of paid maternity leave. And after you return from your maternity leave, Austrian companies must guarantee you a job of similar level and same pay. So it's not allowed that in Austrian companies, when you're pregnant and you go on maternity leave, it's not allowed that when you come back that they have no job for you anymore. And it's not allowed that they give you a lower level job to try to push you out of the company. No. In Austria, by law, they must guarantee you a job when you return and a job of similar level. So maybe you are director of research and development, director of R&D, before you become pregnant. After you return from maternity leave, maybe the director role for R&D is already filled. But then they have to offer you another director level job, maybe director of marketing. So they have to guarantee a similar job when you return. Also, let's not forget the fathers. The men can also get paternity leave in addition to the women getting maternity leave. You want to guess how long? For men, it's 1 month or 2 months paternity leave. Okay? So men can get 1 or 2 months paid paternity leave. Now, it doesn't stop there. For every child you have in Austria, you get paid child allowance. That means you get money by the government for every child you have. When my mother had me, she got around 200 euros. So let's say 300 US dollars, 200 euros every month until I was 25 years old. So 25 years long, every month you get around 200 euros. And you get that when you have a child, and you get that for every child, okay? So not just for your first child, for every child you have, times 200 euros per month, around 200. So if it's 3 kids, 3 times 200. 5 kids, 5 times 200. And for 25 years. And did I mention education in Austria is free? So your child can go to public schools, public kindergartens. It's free of cost. So what is it that the Austrian Business Agency does? Well, we help you with all questions about living and working in Austria. If you want, you can visit our website, workinaustria.com. We also have an Instagram and LinkedIn, Work in Austria. You can follow us on Instagram, Work in Austria. We have some Indonesians on our Instagram explaining how they already moved to Austria. We also have some Indonesian influencers explaining Bahasa Indonesia, how to move to Austria. The thing that is important, if you want a realistic chance to move to Austria, you must speak good English or good German. Okay? Bahasa Indonesia is not enough to move to Austria. You must speak English and or German. Because Austrian companies only speak English or German. So if you apply for a job in Austria, please send your documents, your application documents, either in English or German. So what is it that the ABA does? We have our website, workinaustria.com. If you go on our website, there is a button which says Talent Hub. Talent Hub, H-U-B, Talent Hub. The Talent Hub, there you can look at jobs, you can apply for jobs. And once you have a job offer, the Austrian Business Agency, we help you get the legal documents so you can move to Austria as an Indonesian citizen. The legal document that you need to move to Austria is called the red, white, red card. Maybe you heard in the USA they have something called the green card. In Austria we have what is called the red, white, red card. Why is it called so long red, white, red card? Because the Austrian flag is like the Indonesian flag. The Indonesian flag is red and white. The Austrian flag is red, white, red. And that's why we call it the red, white, red card. So if you get a job offer from an Austrian company, the job offer has to be for a professional job. So it's not for jobs, not for unskilled work. Unskilled work, for example, would be dishwasher, cleaners. Those kinds of jobs you can't do in Austria. It has to be professional jobs or skilled jobs. And I think that's no problem for you because you're university graduates. Okay? So you can only come to Austria with professional jobs. And most of the jobs are in IT, information technology, engineering technology, engineer and technicians, electrical engineering, electronics, mechanical, robotics, and also life sciences. Life sciences is like biotechnology, medical technology, bioinformatics, pharmacy, biochemistry. Those are the professions that the ABA promotes the most. But there are also other professional jobs, maybe in tourism, maybe in healthcare. It's possible for you to move to Austria as long as it's a professional job that requires a university degree or professional qualifications or even something like an SMK, technical vocational training. So only professional jobs. You can look for jobs on our website, but you can also look for jobs on other platforms. As long as you get a job offer from an Austrian company or an employer, ABA will help you get this red, white, red card. Okay? We help you get this document. I will give you a very short explanation how to get the red, white, red card. But if you forget, no problem, we will help you get it and we will remind you what is needed. If you want a red, white, red card, you must first have a job offer. That's why I apply for jobs. Once you have the job offer, the Austrian authorities will evaluate your profile based on your age, qualification, languages you speak, and work experience. It's like a math exam or a school exam. You just have to hit the minimum number of points, and you can get the points from the 4 categories: age, work experience, qualifications, and languages. So it does not matter if you get all points from 2 categories or if you get all points from 4 categories, as long as you hit the minimum number of points. And how can you get these points? The younger you are, the more points you get. Okay? There is no age limit unless you are retired. But the younger you are, so for example, if you're in your 20s, you get more points. You can still get points until, I think, the end of your 30s. You can get points for your qualifications. So you have a university degree, of course, you will get points. Your languages. If you speak English or German, you get many points. Okay? In German, you can get points for already from A1 level. In Europe, we have language levels A1, A2 for beginners, B1, B2 for intermediary, and advanced C1, C2. If you already get a certification in A1, you can already get points. You get more points for A2, B1, but from A1 you can already get points. In English, you can also get points. You can also get points if you speak Spanish or French, and also some Eastern European languages. But it's enough also if you only speak English, depending on the job you apply for. But I recommend, if you want good chances, learn some German. And if you do a language certificate, IELTS, TOEFL in German, if you are successful and you move to Austria, you can also get the cost of the exam reimbursed. So if you are successful in the examination and you actually move to Austria, you can get the cost of the examination back once you arrive in Austria. The red, white, red card, if you are successful, you get the red, white, red card for 2 years. During the 2 years, you work for the Austrian company. After the 2 years are finished, if you like it, of course you can still stay. You can extend your stay by another 3 years. The extension, the upgraded card, is called red, white, red plus card. In the advanced card, the difference is you are no longer stuck with the first job. If you want, you can stay there, or you apply for any other job in Austria. So you can advance, you can apply for a higher level job. And the advantage is, if you get this red, white, red card, and you have a family, or you have a partner, or you have children, your partner and children can join you and can also get their own red, white, red plus card. And that means if you have a partner, your partner can also work in Austria. Okay? So in total, 2 years plus 3 years makes 5 years. After the 5 years, if you want, you can apply for permanent residency. Okay? So you don't have to give up your Indonesian citizenship, you can move to Austria permanently. So all I want you to remember, our website workinaustria.com, or our Instagram workinaustria. You can visit our booth. You can come for more information and free Red Bulls. And speaking of Red Bulls, if you have any questions now, you can ask and you can get a Red Bull for us for free. Do you have any questions? The lady in the front.